What's up everyone, it's Sprometheus, and today, thanks to my friends at Visions Espresso in Seattle, I got my sticky barista paws on Mahlkonig's brand new home-focused grinder, the X54. If you follow all of the hot coffee gossip, you've likely heard about it or maybe seen it floating around online here or there, and honestly, I've got some pretty high expectations, and I think that's fair. Yes, it's their first foray into the home market, but considering Mahlkonig's serious grinding pedigree dating back to 1924, and how big the home market has gotten in the past couple of years, it just makes sense for them to come out of the gate swinging. So that may leave you wondering, what does the X54 bring to the table? Well, it brings a lot of things that a lot of home baristas want, but also brings some features from its commercial side that a lot of baristas who've worked in cafes have fallen in love with and made their grinders somewhat of an industry standard. For one, it has flat burrs, which seems to edge out the conicals in popularity when it comes to the keyboard warriors on coffee forums. On top of that, it's got a wide range of stepless adjustments that are aimed at high accuracy grinding, ranging from espresso fine to French press coarse. But unlike many of the current popular home grinder options, the X54 isn't single dosing and it's not low retention. So the question is, can its other features convince those in the market to sway from the ever popular niche or the current forum sweetheart, the DF64? Well, that's what I'm here to figure out today, so let's dive in. First, let's give the X54 a quick once-over just to see how it works. And for those of you who are familiar with the K30, the Peak, or any of their newer grinder options, there's no doubt you'll likely feel a sense of deja vu. So starting with the hopper, it's pretty straightforward. They list it as having enhanced durability. That sounds good, whatever that means. This is the adjustment knob, and like most prosumer grinders, its adjustments are stepless and start at the lower numbers for finer and the higher numbers for coarser. Speaking of grind size, inside the grinder sits a pair of 54mm flat burrs made of special steel, and paired to a motor that Mahlkonig states is rated for up to 25,000 shots. The LCD screen is a nice feature, and it's very similar to a lot of their newer model espresso grinders. It has 5 presets, a manual press to grind, and 4 that can be easily set by a short press and hold, a spin to set the time, and then another press and hold to finalize it. It's also relatively consistent. When dialed into a gram dose, it pumped out 5 doses that all landed within half a gram. This front panel can be easily swapped back and forth by pressing the release button on the side, allowing for a clean grind into the included cup, or to a convenient portafilter holder for you espresso fans. It also has what Mahlkonig is calling optimal acoustics. It's definitely within the sound range of the niche, but because it's spinning faster, it does have a little bit of a higher pitched squeal, but both land within 70 to 80 decibels. All in all, it's a pretty simple design, but it looks nice on the counter and it feels pretty intuitive. Okay, so now that we've seen it from the top down, it's time that we actually make some coffee with it. And I found this interesting because out of all the reviews of the X54 online, I couldn't find even one where they're actually making coffee with the X54. To start, I should say when it arrived, the burrs were aligned way too coarse, and even getting a pour over, I was grinding all the way down to the 10 to 12 range, which in the manual says it would be closer to espresso than anything else, and so I had to actually realign the burrs to get things going. Once I had the burrs aligned to where they were working for me, I was able to dive right into brewing filter and espresso, and unsurprisingly, it does a good job. It's capable of hitting 20+% extractions, and I've got no complaints on the coffee you can brew with the X54. But there are some things about the X54 that I think should be pointed out. For one, using doses below 18 grams, which of course requires a finer grind, could result in some chunky coffee, but 18 and above will likely get you some nicely fluffed grinds. The portafilter holder is adjustable, but when I adjusted it for my bottomless, it sits too high and the grinds pile up and overflow off the back of the basket, which is part of the general messiness and waste that comes along with a hopper-based system. Also, you will need to purge a few grams on every grind change, and if you need to change your grind size to be a little finer, oftentimes you will have to turn the grinder on to do so. Also, to change to a different style of coffee, say from filter to espresso, you'll need to block off the hopper feed, remove the hopper, and pull out as many beans as you can from the chamber if you don't just want to grind them through. With all of that said, it probably has you wondering, how does it perform as a single dosing grinder? Well, it's not bad, but it's not great either. It tends to withhold between a half to 1 whole gram depending on your grind size, which means you will need to overdose your beans to make up for that, as well as weigh the output to confirm. Well, in the end, what can I say? The X54 is a solid choice for a home grinder, and that really shouldn't surprise anyone. It makes great, well-extracted espresso with all of the clarity, balance, and flavor you'd expect from a high-quality grinder. The same could also be said about its ability with filter coffee. Arguably, the grinder is one of, if not the most important piece of your entire coffee setup, and the X54 won't let you down in that department. But the main caveat is, even though it's called an all-round grinder, it's just better suited for running one program or the other. And I'm sure many of you out there are wondering, is it better than the niche? And the short answer is no, but the long answer is, it's different. It's hard to sit here and fault the grinder because Mahlkonig went with the hopper-based system instead of the ever-popular single-dosing, low-retention design. But whether that makes one grinder better than the other is something I can't tell you. That's something you have to decide for yourself based on what you're looking for. Personally, single dosing, and the niche in particular, just works best for what I do and the constant rotation of 4 or 5 copies I have on hand. Outside of that, its retail cost is going to be one of its major hurdles to get over, because $850 is a lot. It's a big investment for a home brewer, especially if you're just getting into it. But if we're purely judging a grinder on its ability to grind consistently and be an asset in creating quality cups of coffee, the Mahlkonig X54 fits the bill, and it's a welcome addition to the home coffee grinder market. And with all that said, I think it's time I wrap this one up. Of course, once again, a big thank you to the folks at Visions Espresso for loaning me the grinder for this review, and if you're in the market for an X54 in the US, they're the place to snag one, so hit their link in the description. And of course, if you have any burning questions about the Mahlkonig X54, home grinders, or anything else you saw in this video, feel free to drop them in the comment section down below, and I'll see y'all next week. And a big thank you to the July Patreons: Ads, Jacob P, Christopher, Squeegee Rowe, Brian, Andre, Sean Noel, Spookus, Samantha, Claire, Stephen, Alexis, Josh B, Bound Copy, James K, Josh Horrison, Corey C, Curry, Jeff Roth, Joey N, Thomas B, UK Espresso, Tim, Jason C, Jerry, Matt Ray, Home Barista Coach, Gumby, Zachary V, Robert Underdunk, Jeffrey R, BJK Cafe, Daniel P, Mike B, Brian M, Tyler M, Barista Michael, Sebastian, Matthew C, JRC, Arthur L, Absolute, Stephen G, Jose Lauren, Keefe, and Stephen A. And of course, a big thank you to the Barista and Barback tiers. If you want any information on my Patreon, there's a link in the description and in the upper right hand corner right now. And of course, thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Hit that little bell button for notifications of new videos posted every Friday. Follow my Instagram at Sprometheus for content throughout the week, my blog at Sprometheus.com, my coffee at littlegiant.coffee, and as always, stay caffeinated. Ponyboy